Rapper and actor Kid Cudi is set to testify today in the Sean Diddy Combs sex trafficking and racketeering trial. Now, yesterday, the jury heard from Combs' former personal assistant, George Kaplan, and he testified he was in charge of protecting Combs and his image, which included disposing of drugs and empty baby oil and alcohol bottles after Diddy's so-called freak-offs. Combs has pleaded not guilty to all charges. CBS News legal reporter Katrina Kaufman joins us from outside the federal courthouse in Lower Manhattan after being inside the courthouse following all of this. Katrina, good morning to you. What else did we learn from Combs' former personal assistant?
Errol, one thing that is important to note about this witness is that they had to give him immunity because he invoked the Fifth. That's his right not to incriminate himself by testifying. So he is protected with all of this testimony. So far, what we heard from him was about, for one, the long hours he worked with Combs, sometimes from one morning until 7 a.m. the next day. Also that he was threatened by Combs once a month. You know, he always felt at risk of losing his job. But most significantly, we heard about how he would set up these hotel rooms for Combs with items that we've been hearing about, like baby oil, Astroglide, other drugs as well, Errol. And then also how he would later come and tidy these rooms up. This is significant testimony, Errol, because part of these allegations is that employees, trusted assistants, were part of this alleged racketeering scheme that Combs was supposedly at the direction of. And then we also heard from an expert witness yesterday, Errol. Her name is Dawn Hughes. She's a forensic psychologist, and she's sort of a blind witness. She's not supposed to have interviewed the people who are part of this case, but she was generally testifying about victims of domestic abuse and the ways they can be affected. She talked about the types of abuse, emotional, psychological, financial, and how these can hold someone into a relationship, and also the trauma bond that can keep people together. There can be love there, even if there is this abuse going on, and a victim might stay in that relationship.
And what might we hear from Kid Cudi today?
We have heard various accounts involving Kid Cudi. Errol, he's someone that Cassie Ventura, Sean Combs' ex, was involved with for a bit. This supposedly angered Sean Combs. We've seen a threatening message Cassie Ventura sent her mother, Regina Ventura, saying that Combs was threatening her and Kid Cudi, that he was going to hurt them, that he was going to release explicit sex tapes of her if he didn't get money. At the time, her mother gave him $20,000, which she did end up getting back from him. We've also heard a story about how Combs threatened to blow up Kid Cudi's car in his driveway. He said that they would be out of the country at the time. He wanted Cudi's friends to see it. Kid Cudi's car did, in fact, blow up in his driveway at one point. There's an arson charge in this case that's related to that. Combs denies that this ever happened, but today we'll get to hear Cudi's side of the story.
Viewers should stay close to CBS News 24/7. I know that you'll be bringing us updates throughout the day. Katrina Kaufman, thank you.
The prosecution tried to connect the dots between Diddy's business and his alleged abuse of Cassie Ventura and another victim. How? By using witnesses to try to link Diddy to firearms, cash, and control. We heard from a male escort who said Diddy controlled everything about the freak-offs with Cassie. And Cassie's mother, she also took the stand, testifying about taking a home equity loan out to wire Diddy $20,000. Now, the last witness on the stand today, he tied Diddy to some pretty serious weapons. Remember that 2024 raid on his home in Miami Beach? The special agent in charge testified that he found parts of AR-15 rifles in Diddy's master bedroom. He says the serial numbers were also scratched off. Police also found items that others previously testified would be present at freak-offs: high heels, sex toys, baby oil, Astroglide, and lingerie. And speaking of those items, tonight we're seeing images from the first time of what investigators found at the New York hotel where Diddy was arrested last year. They seized, perhaps you guessed it, baby oil, lubricant, drugs, and cash. Now that lines up with what Diddy's former assistant testified to today at trial. Now he said he was tasked with stocking Diddy's hotel rooms, but he said he didn't go through the company to get reimbursed for these supplies. Instead, he went to Diddy's security team and claimed that they would pay him back in cash from the rapper's Louis Vuitton bag. He also testified that the bag could hold $10,000 or more in cash, telling the court, I just think because they were items that he didn't want to have a record for. Now, one of today's other witnesses was a male escort known as the Punisher, a nickname he says comes from his basketball playing days. He took part in Diddy's freak-offs with Cassie as well. And he said Diddy would direct all aspects of those encounters. The escort testified, quote, Diddy would at some point come into the room, sit in the distance, give subtle directions to Miss Ventura based on, like I said, angles and lighting, positioning, and sometimes the sexual activity. We also heard from Cassie's mother, who testified about a payment that she wired to Diddy after Cassie told her that he was threatening to release 2 sex tapes. Cassie's mom said Diddy asked her for money around that same time to, quote, recoup money that he had spent on her daughter. The prosecutor asked, quote, why did you go to the bank and take out a $20,000 loan? Cassie's mom said, I was scared for my daughter's safety. She was asked what she needed $20,000 for, and she said, to pay Sean Combs. And when she was asked why she needed to pay Sean Combs, she testified, because he demanded it. Now, the prosecution made a bombshell reveal over who we can expect to testify this week. They plan to call Scott Muscudi. You know him as Kid Cudi. Remember, Cassie testified that Diddy got irate when he found out she was dating Kid Cudi. The prosecution also plans to call a clinical psychologist as well as a former Diddy employee who quit, apparently, after allegedly witnessing physical abuse. Get right to CNN's Elizabeth Wagmeister, who saw all the testimony in the courtroom today and has been following so closely. The assistant, the former one, David James, took the stand today about an incident that could have actually turned tragic, and it involved a rival of Diddy, Suge Knight. Describe.
Yes, so with putting this witness on the stand, it appears that the prosecutors are really trying to get into this racketeering claim, showing that they allege Diddy was running this criminal enterprise through his businesses. So this former personal assistant, he worked for Diddy from 2007 through 2009. He was hired by Bad Boy, so an employee of that company, of course, the company that Diddy was the head of. Now, this instance that you brought up, he told this story to the jury, which was after a late night recording session in the studio. It was about 3 or 4 a.m. and Diddy said he wanted some late night food from Mel's Diner, a famous place in Los Angeles. So they go to Mel's Diner. It's the assistant and one of Diddy's security personnel, who they called D-Rock. They get there and they see Suge Knight. As you said, Suge Knight, of course, is a longtime rival of Diddy. Well, they go back to Diddy's home in the Hollywood Hills. This is when the personal assistant said he actually saw Cassie outside the home fighting with Diddy, arguing, basically pleading for him not to go. But Diddy wanted to go. So according to this former assistant, Diddy said, we're taking this car, drive the car. They get in the car. The assistant says he turns around, looks in the back seat, and Diddy has 3 handguns on his lap. That is what he testified today. They go back to the diner. Suge Knight is no longer there, but he said that Diddy was demanding, yelling at him, saying, keep driving around. He wanted to find him. Now, again, nothing happened because he wasn't there, but here's what the assistant said on the stand. Quote, I was really shook up by it. You know, this was the first time being Mr. Combs' assistant that I realized that my life was in danger. He said that right after that, he actually put in his notice at the company.
He stayed for about 6 more months to try to train his replacement, but that was really the end for him of why he wanted to work there. That wasn't the only witness today, though. We actually heard from Cassie Ventura's mom, which the defense didn't want to hear from. And a lot of people thought, I wonder why she's testifying. Would it be gratuitous in some way? Would she move the needle in either direction? But she talked about being scared for her daughter's safety and this $20,000 loan. What happened?
So let me get to that in a second. But first, I want to read you an email that was shown to the jury as an exhibit in court. This is an email that Cassie sent to her mother and Capricorn Clark, who was one of Diddy's employees.
Under an alias, right?
Under an alias. And yes, here's what she wrote. The threats that have been made towards me by Sean Puffy Combs are that he is going to release 2 explicit sex tapes of me. One on Christmas Day, maybe before or right after, and another sometime soon after that. He also said that he will be having someone hurt me and Scott Muscudi, you said, Kid Cudi, physically. He made a point that it wouldn't be by his hands. He actually said he'd be out of the country when it happened. So Cassie's mom testifies on the stand. When she read this email, she was physically ill. And of course she would be. This is her daughter. She's scared for her life. So then she said that Diddy demanded that she pay $20,000, as you said, because he was upset that Cassie was with another man. That would be Kid Cudi. And he said, I spent $20,000 on your daughter, so you better pay it back. Now you have Diddy, who at one point was a billionaire, but at this point at least is worth hundreds of millions of dollars, and is allowing the mother of his girlfriend to take out a home equity loan to wire the money. He accepted that money, but then he sent it back. Now, I want to bring up one more exhibit. There are photos of Cassie with bruises on her body that were shown to the jury, and Cassie's mom said she's the one who took those photos of her daughter when she visited home for Christmas.
It's pretty unbelievable to think about the dynamic of Sean Diddy Combs asking someone for $20,000. The intimation, of course, that he returned it later on, once Diddy and Cassie were back together in some way. What about Kid Cudi? Are we really going to hear him testify?
We are, according to prosecutors. This was, as you said, the big reveal today. So Kid Cudi could be on the stand as soon as tomorrow, Laura. We may be seeing him tomorrow. If not, they said Thursday, but definitely this week he is expected to testify. Now, what will we hear from him? We're going to hear probably a corroborating account to what Cassie said, which, as I just kind of got into, she was dating Kid Cudi for a brief moment in 2011 when her and Diddy were what she said was on a break, but a rough patch. They were together very briefly, then her and Diddy got back together. But Cassie testified last week that when Diddy found out that she was dating Kid Cudi, he got enraged, he threatened her safety, as we saw in this email, and he even said that he wanted to blow up Kid Cudi's car. Now, Kid Cudi has said around the time that allegation came out, which first was revealed in Cassie's civil suit back in November 2023, Kid Cudi said that is all true. So it'll be pretty amazing to see that moment in court if he confirms in front of the jury that his car was blown up.
Sean Diddy Combs' sex trafficking case filled with suspicion and suspense today. Rapper Kid Cudi is on the stand right now detailing a threat that Diddy once made to him. Fox 5's Linda Schmidt is live in Lower Manhattan, and she picks it up from there. Linda, what's the latest?
Yeah, hi there, Bianca. Well, first of all, I can tell you this. Every day, the testimony in this trial has been jaw-dropping. Today will be no different. Rapper, as you're talking about, rapper Kid Cudi on the stand, and he is testifying today. Go ahead, take a look at this video, because this is Cudi arriving here at federal court in Lower Manhattan earlier today. Now, he is wearing the black leather coat and smoking a cigarette. He is testifying about his brief relationship with Sean Diddy Combs' ex-girlfriend, Cassie, back in 2011, after she and Combs had broken up. Now, Cassie has already testified that Combs flew into a jealous rage about her relationship with Kid Cudi, and he threatened to blow up his car. Now, Cudi has already testified today that he met with Combs after his Porsche exploded, and the remains of a Molotov cocktail were found nearby. Combs is charged with running a criminal enterprise dealing with drugs and sex trafficking. He has pleaded not guilty on all counts. Now, yesterday, Combs' former executive assistant, George Kaplan, also testified. He continued this morning, and he left court earlier today. After wrapping up his testimony, he had testified that he would buy drugs for Combs and that he would clean up hotel rooms after Combs would hold drug-fueled sex marathons called freak-offs. And a federal agent also testified yesterday that when they raided Combs' home in Miami last year, they found gun parts to make AR-15 style weapons, cocaine, ketamine, and more than 50 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. Now, as I said, rapper Kid Cudi on the stand right now. We're heading into court here shortly. Back inside to you.
All right, Linda, thank you for keeping us on top of that. And our team will continue to provide extensive coverage of the Diddy trial. In one of our latest online videos, our Lisa Evers asked a defense lawyer, can Diddy go free? You can watch her deep dives and analysis on the free Fox Local app, available wherever you stream.
Yeah, we don't give a fuck about this goddamn Kid Cudi just showed up. Oh, nah, this is like a WWE theme song. Look. Hold up, let me get this like crystal late. Oh, the nigga comes out like a rock star. Is that a crop top? No crop top? Oh, I'm not fucking with this. Where's the skirt? Wait, Kid Cudi dressing like a boy today? bruv, his testimony to me would hit harder if he pulled up in one of them little tutus and a crop top. That's what he be wearing sometimes. Okay.
What are you expecting today? You look great.
You look great.
Yo, he chain smoking, I could tell.
Love the bit, not too serious.
For Cudi. Pull out for Cudi.
Yo, they trying to put Diddy away for life. Chat, is that snitching? It ain't is it snitching? Now, I do think, yo, there's like man code. Yo, you took Diddy's bitch, you fucked her, and he wanted to get his bitch back. Now, usually, let me tell you this. I'm not competing with a bum-ass nigga for a chick. I'm not competing with if I'm Diddy, I'm not even blowing his car up. I'm just flexing on both of them. Fuck both of you bum-ass niggas. Enjoy bummetry. I'm not competing with a bum. Like, no disrespect, I don't think Kid Cudi's a bum, but Diddy's a mogul. Now, granted, I think Diddy realized Cassie was a special piece of ting. You know what I mean? He can't just swap out the middle woman to the freak offs. But I would have let Kid Cudi take her stupid ass. Bitch, you gonna leave me and go get with Kid Cudi? This nigga is mentally crazy. He can't find a hit. And all that crush a bit, little bit, roll it up, do it. That shit is over. Enjoy that shit. I would have turned up another bitch flexing on her. I ain't gonna lie. I can't compete with a nigga. But, you know what I mean? Special girl. Special girl, I guess, right? You think it's a rat for doing this? Maybe. Let me see. No, you're not. Domestic violence, sexual assault, testifying, or calling the police, that's not snitching. Y'all tripping.
Play like crystal. Hold up, let me get this like crystal lake.
Honey, are you nervous to testify today? What are you expecting today? You look great.
You look great.
I love the fit, not too serious.
For Cudi. Pull out for Cudi.
Okay. Let's hurry up with the tweets. We gotta get to Kid Cudi. Okay. Any violence? So